My Skype got hacked Sunday, and it wasn't really restored until today. And groups that I have, some guy actually on Sunday I was on Skype doing some chats, and all of a sudden my Skype dropped out. And when I tried to restart Skype, I couldn't log in. So I went and changed my password. And then when I came back, rebooted and tried to log in again, I couldn't do that. Then I found out later that there was some guy had taken over my account and was he was chitty chatting and then asking people to do him a favor and go buy $100 iTunes cards for him. And when they wouldn't do it, he deleted them from the group. One of the groups I've had has everybody deleted. The Patrick Devine group has about half of them deleted, and someone has started a new group, and we have to get everything back into there. Well, one of the things I found out is that Skype recently has developed a technique so that I can give you a link so you can join the group, and we won't have to have everybody contact me and then me to go through the windows and to sort this stuff out. You can join by doing the link. So let me get the group reestablished, and we'll work on getting all of that together. Now, the second thing is Patrick has put out a number of files today, and I think the last file, I think there are 7 or 8 files, but the last file is a zip file, which contains the previous other files and a couple of others. And the zip file is called the Emancipation package. And in it there are two folders, one about how to behave once we're out, what to do, what not to do, and the other one is the payments that we're going to be needing.
Mark.
There are probably a couple of other things from the previous, further down in the directory that may want to carry with us, but those are the main documents.
Hey Tom, I tried opening that and it said there was a virus in it when I went to unzip that file.
What did you open it with?
I don't know. I just pressed the button. I don't know that much about computers, so it might just be me.
Yes, because you have the file association set correctly for a zip file.
Yeah. It's I've unloaded the others. I downloaded other zip files. Also
right.
Concurrent. So
I used WinRAR and I had no trouble unpacking it. I got no warnings whatsoever out of it.
Okay.
And I put it up on the e-concurrent site, both zipped and unzipped.
Okay, so it's already up there, unzipped. Oh, thank you.
Right. But in terms of doing it on the Yahoo group, do the unzipped, you have to download 8 files instead of just one zip file. So the zipping makes it easier to organize. So those files got up there. The zip package only got up there about 45 minutes ago. So it'd probably be a good idea to bring that down, unzip it, and I'm sure Patrick is going to go through it. Sounds like he has it really well organized.
Oh, awesome. Oh, and then I have another question. The UCC 5108 and 5109 document, have you updated that?
It's in the zip package.
Okay. Because let me just go and check. Page up. Oh, there it is. Okay. The copy that was currently in the on the Yahoo file section was skipped from 5108 to 5111. It never 5109 was never in it, but this has it.
In the zip file, you probably should take a look at the zip file and compare each document to its previous version to see what may have changed. Patrick usually adds revision to it when he changes something.
They're 2 different files.
Two different
Okay.
two different folders in the zip. Right.
Yeah, I didn't have 109 in the other file, and I had extra ones out of UCC in there in section 5 that I didn't, but I just consolidated section 108 and 109 into one 2-page document. Okay,
Yeah,
because I thought those were just the key. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Giving some understanding, just like basically getting the Expatriation Act. Okay, I'm trying to give you some key components in the process of looking at this stuff, but that doesn't prevent you from going out there and looking yourself at other things. But don't get tied up in all their fraudulent codes and everything, because that will just confuse the living hell out of you and basically will keep you into the system. Pretty much everything right there in that zip file that I sent to Tom, and I put a warning out there that you guys need to try and keep a low profile. If you're a drinker, you need to really try and work a little harder and staying away from the booze. Okay? Stay away from trying to antagonize anything out there until you come out of the system. Okay? Don't act like a belligerent out here in the process, because they will take you down. You have to start spending a little more time in looking at this stuff and understanding what the Bible says. It's not a religious book, okay? So get that out of your ass, okay? So many people have a burr up their ass that the Bible is a religious book and they're not going to have a damn thing to do with it. They got a burr up their ass about the Roman Catholic Church. Well, basically the whole system of this government is founded upon the Anglican Church, which is controlled by the Queen of England. And yes, the Anglican Church was founded based upon the Roman Catholic Church out here, but that's beside the point, okay? You're out here bad-mouthing the Roman Catholic Church when you should be bad-mouthing the Anglican Church if you want to bad-mouth anything. And you're not really bad-mouthing the Church of Rome, okay? That's the real law out here. So you need to know what the hell you're talking about in this process. You need to know where the problems are, okay? And most of the problems are within ourselves because we don't have the proper understandings of what's going on. About 5 or 6 of us should have been completely out of the system about 3 years ago, because we met with the bankruptcy judges, and basically all we needed to do was to do an emancipation of our banking debtor persons, our slaves, our villains out here that they had assigned to us and made us a slave owner over, therefore getting us to be in violation of the Constitution, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, and that's what made us a criminal in this process. So when you start understanding how did they get jurisdiction over us, what took it away from us, it was all about the bankers, the trickery in the damn process of setting up these banking slaves. Therefore, we basically violated, in most cases, everybody thinks of a slave or an indentured servant as being a living person. No. That's one of the key things was they started creating these artificial persons out here in the process. Now, you're the owners of these artificial persons, but they're being hired out. So you're the slave master hiring your slaves out for somebody else or to somebody else. I put a document up there about the 1795 Supreme Court ruling. Well, disregard that, okay? Take all reference to that court case completely out. The statement itself is very valid. It's a universal biblical law, one of the universal biblical laws of creation. You can say no constitutional chartered governmental corporation has jurisdiction over the rights of a natural man. No government has the rights to have the jurisdiction to take the rights away from a natural man. That is in total violation of the Bible. You can give them up, but they can't take it away from you. You have to give them jurisdiction. And then you stand in, when you understand that, then you can stand in over these courts, because all these courts are criminal courts. Everybody in that courtroom is a criminal. That's how they see then you're being judged by one of your peers, a criminal peer. Because they all have Social Security accounts too, so they're a slave owner. They're in violation of the Constitution. Just like everybody going into prison, and then basically the bigger boy on the block is basically the one that's ruling over you, the bigger criminal. Just like what we had with George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Bill Clinton. They were all criminals. They're banking criminals. Hillary, criminal. From the word go. And people still keep voting criminals into office, thinking that we've got a lawful government. We've got a criminal government in place right now. Because the vast majority of the people in this country are criminals. They just don't want to realize it. Now, you have to do the emancipation of your banking slaves. And what about 5 of us should have done 2 or 3 years ago was when we had to, in front of the bankruptcy judges, we should have given them an emancipation, a declaration of emancipation for our slaves over to those bankruptcy courts. Then you send all your bills to the bankruptcy court. Here, you're the warden over these now. You're the guardian of these slaves. They're now the wards of the state, of the bankruptcy state. You still do send an emancipation into your chief judge for the federal district court. I would also send one to the senior judges and then the bankruptcy judge. Hit all 3 of them. You've got the fiction, you got the Son of Man, and you got the upper, the ecclesiastical court. So you've got your 3 courts right there in your district. And then I would send one up to the circuit court that stands over those district courts. and there's a Supreme Court justice over each one of those circuit courts. So, 2 more packages you should send out. One to the bankruptcy judge or court, and one to the circuit court, on top of the others that I talked about before. That's the only other changes that I've done. And then I posted that warning up there about you guys trying to stay your ass out of trouble and to get out of this. Don't go out there and argue with these people. Instead of hopping in the car, walk the 3 or 4 blocks to the store. Try and use a little common sense and trying to keep a low profile. Okay. I posted a little audio up there about that, basically talking about going to, and then going into this bankruptcy court. Okay? So, it's open for discussion right now. Okay? You guys have any questions for me, or if you guys want to discuss this, it's open mic now. Okay? I'm done talking.
It's Joe. Hey, here in South Carolina, the Office of Court Administrators, she's actually over all the judges. So I should actually put her on notice too, right?
No, you send it into the court.
Okay.
Address it to the appropriate court you want it to go to.
All right. Thank you.
Patrick, this is Bill. I was researching our Supreme Court for the state, and it looks like all the senior judges go to Superior Court. Would that be would it be wise to pick a couple of those judges out and send a package to them, or should I just send it to one or just to the court?
I would just mark it to the Supreme Court justices, and then one it to the senior justices, or whatever they're called.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Send them all out certified mail, though, so you have basically delivery and everything on them.
Will do. And I was going to put the certified mail strip on the actual cover letter. Would that be okay, do you think, instead of typing it?
No, you type the number on there.
Okay.
You put it on both the Emancipation document and also on the cover letter. At least that's what I was doing. I was making up an Emancipation for each cover letter that I sent out. A new Emancipation document.
Another thing, I lived in 3 states and had driver's licenses and professional licenses in all those states.
Just go with the one you're in right now, okay? Into the federal district court if you've been there for 160 or 180 days, as the court requires.
Perfect.
Patrick, we need to send in our packages to Philadelphia and the Vicar General before we start sending bills into the bankruptcy court.
No.
We can send the bills right now?
Yes.
Okay.
As soon as you send them in with that Emancipation Proclamation document, when you surrender those slaves over to the bankruptcy court, they're banking slaves. So where should they go? The bankruptcy court.
Right. Yeah, we were doing that earlier.
We weren't doing it. We were not emancipating. We were trying to go in there, but we did not emancipate our slaves, free them, and turn them over to be wards of the state.
Okay.
the bankruptcy state.
So should we be sending the bills both to the company, the bankruptcy court in Philadelphia?
No, send them to the bankruptcy court here in your district.
Okay. Thank you.
You can place the notification on to the bill person you sent it. Say, hey, this is going here.
Okay.
Whether you get paid or not, I don't care. Those courts, that federal courthouse is a banking house. It's a courthouse, a banking house.
Bench.
They got more damn accountants in there than you'd shake a stick at. They're tied in with the Secret Service, which is over the Enterprise Financial Management System, the FBI, the Secret U.S. Marshals, the Attorney General's office. They're all banking accountants. They only get to wear a gun periodically. Go out there and threaten people. Most of the time, they're sitting behind a damn desk, behind a computer, going through accounts. Anybody else?
Yeah, Patrick, I got a general question. What's the difference for the accounts held at the Treasury and the Social Security? They one and the same, or what?
Right now, all the accounts are in bankruptcy, okay? They're tied in through the Federal Reserve Bank, okay? The Social Security is too. They're all mortmain accounts.
Okay, they're Puerto Rico then.
Well, they're being held, some of the assets are being held down there in Puerto Rico, and that's why they're offshore. As one of the guys got a letter back from the Court of Claims telling him, hey, your accounts are still offshore.
Oh, really?
Yes, and see, that's where all these mortmain accounts have to be held. They have to be held in Puerto Rico. They can't be held on continental United States of America. They're held in a territory because they're in violation of the statutes at large.
All right, so you're saying your package is going to get that mortmain account open?
The U.S. Marshals and everybody will go down there and get our accounts out of Puerto Rico. It's just a banking transaction.
Okay.
It's a flip of the switch on a computer. The Secret Service has control over those switches because they're over the Enterprise Financial Management System.
I understand.
We don't need to go that route. All we need to do is get this in there, and we have to understand the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. In a lot of cases, all these bills will, like mortgages and stuff like that, will be basically nullified out with the banks. These other banks are bankrupts also. Now, when we turn our slaves over to the bankruptcy court, and the bills, the mortgages, and everything go into the bankruptcy court, basically the bankruptcy court will come about on these bankers and start shutting them down. The bankers will no longer be able to supply any threats or intimidations against you. And they definitely ain't going to put threats and intimidations against the bankruptcy court. Because the U.S. Marshals have bigger guns than them. Like I said, all we needed to do about 3 years ago to be out of this system was to do an emancipation over to those bankruptcy court. They sat there waiting for us. They even tried to coax the guys down in South Carolina along that line. I hadn't done an emancipation. I did an emancipation tried to do it back in 2010, 2009. And I tried to do it with my local district, state of Iowa district chief judge. But I was trying to emancipate the wrong things at that time. And then I was going to the wrong place because that judge didn't have control over the national banking bankrupt slaves. The federal bankruptcy courts do. There's a term called self-executing constitutional provision. Okay, you'll find that in Black's dictionary. A constitutional provision is self-executing if it supplies sufficient rule by which right given may be enjoyed, or duty imposed enforced. Constitutional provision is not self-executing when it merely indicates principles within laying down rules given them force of law. Well, see, we have the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments sitting there. We have the rule against monomain accounts in the statutes at large. Those are all tied as constitutional provisions. They're not codes of law indicating a principle of some sort of rule. These have sufficient support behind them. We just have to get them into the right hands and then enforce that in the process.
Okay, Patrick, when you say you're going to get out of the system, are you putting yourself in harm's way by being exported?
You'll always be in harm's way, okay? When you do something that somebody else doesn't like, you're in harm's way, okay?
Okay.
You just got to try and figure out how to stay in a low profile so that you don't go out there and antagonize people in the wrong way. Stay hidden in plain sight. Act like you're still in the system, but you're not in the system.
So I should get the sunglasses, right? Put them on and see all the signs.
Well, that only worked out in that one movie.
They live.
Yeah, I know. You saw that movie, all right.
Yeah, I saw both cuts of it.
Yeah, I remember it. All right, so that's not good, though. We're patriots. How can they export it?
You're not a patriot.
Do we get the... I'm not?
No.
I was a Marine. I'm still a Marine.
You can be a Marine, but you better study the word what a patriot really means.
I was willing to give up my life for the United States of America.
That doesn't make you a patriot.
What makes a patriot?
Look up the definition of the word in more than one dictionary. There's more than one meaning to a lot of these words. Like I said before, de facto, okay? A fraudulent or dead government. And that's what a de facto is basically the debtor's government. Now, take the word devil, make it two words, D-E-V-I-L, vile. Look up the word, what villain is. V-I-L-L-E, whatever, E-I-N.
And
And then also take a relook at what slave means, okay? They try and talk about slave, implying that it is strictly against a living person, but if you go on down and read all the different things that are talking about slavery and everything, it'll eventually the word person pops in there. See, you've got to know what these words are, and that's what most people get themselves in trouble in court system, is because they're saying one thing, using a word one way, but the court is basically taking that word and interpreting it a different way and going against you. And you didn't know what the court just did to you, because they're going to the dead side of the word, the underground side.
Patrick,
Yes.
I'm new to your program. First time on.
Wow.
Do you have a book that you've put out?
I just had Tom put a zip package up on the site there that basically has all the documents you need to basically do right now. You need to go back in and listen to all the audios and everything. You need to go into either econcurrent.com/divine or go into We the People, all one word, _shareholders, and it's a Yahoo group site, and go in and get the audios and listen to them there. Get some of the files in there. Talk to the people that are on the group there and ask them questions. If you sign up on the We the People group, Tom will send you a welcome aboard email, and basically he's got some links to get into some of the Skype groups too. Now, there's some very belligerent people out here on these damn Skype groups that think their ass don't stink and everything else, and they're bad-mouthing a lot of other people that basically have been trying to do something right. So that's going to come here no matter what you get into now, okay? People bad-mouth people out here that have been bad-mouthing the wrong groups out here for years. And then they support the damn villains, the devils, the bankers and everything else, putting the Bushes and the Clintons and all these other nitwits, the Obama people into office, and not thinking twice about it.
Now, on that website, We the People, does that prefix with www?
No, that's a Yahoo group.
You have to go into yahoo.com. Okay, then you get in there, and then there's a group like weather and stuff like that, different links. So you have to go into groups, and then you do a search for We the People, all one word, _shareholders in the groups. And then it should give you the link. Or if you got on here by some person telling you about this, have them send you the link.
Patrick?
Yeah.
I put another URL on the eastern.com site.
Okay, go ahead and tell them about it.
It's with the people shareholders, no one report, .tk.
Did you say We the People shareholders?
Yes.
And then what?
All run together, one word.
And what's after holders?
.tk.
T like in Tom and K like in Caleb. I mean, King.
Yes.
Okay. And that's in yahoo.com. Go into groups.
If you do Yahoo, you have to first you have to make sure you have a Yahoo account. So sign up at a Yahoo account. Then go to Yahoo and the menu line across the horizontal menu line across the top, pick groups. That'll take you to the search box that Patrick mentioned. Search for the group, and when you get there, hit the join button and set your email preferences.
Okay. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you'll find the Skype group quite helpful. They don't discuss this enough, but when they do, they sometimes do a good job.
All right.
And all these other people out here that have been going and trying to do getting something authenticated, basically when you get your birth certificate from the Bureau of Vital Statistics, it's authenticated right there by the seal from the Bureau of Vital Statistics. So you don't need to go and get any other authentication of that birth certificate. Okay? You can't put a claim in against this item because it's already there. You already own it. The thing you've got to get rid of is all your bankrupt persons that have been created out here by insurance and by these banking contracts and by the state contracts and everything else that you have. They're all contracts with the bankrupts. Surrender those slaves. Then operate per the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. And then basically, when you come in the 14th Amendment, Section 4, first sentence, now when you have something and you submit it in through the ecclesiastical court or even through that chief judge in the federal district court, it's going to have to be settled properly with the Treasury. This goes all the way back to the first volume of Statutes at Large about this was never supposed to be a debtor's country, a debtor prison. But the bankers and the monarchies that are setting over this damn government that we have now, this fraudulent 1871 government that Abraham Lincoln and people tried to prevent, but they knew it was coming down the pike and they weren't going to have any control over it. They put the protections in place before they were taken out. The Expatriation Act 249, the night before the 14th Amendment. You have the right to expatriate away from these foreign bankers. We're the only ones that have the right to any lawful substance out here. A corporation owns nothing. They do not have the right to control you, period. They have to get you to consent for them to have jurisdiction over you. You carry a little black book around in your back pocket. If somebody harasses you or something, you get their license number or you'll get their EIN number. And then you file a claim against them, taking them into involuntary bankruptcy because they are bankrupt. They're a slave in the bankruptcy system. But you need to have their numbers of who's the one that's harming you.
Patrick?
Yes.
Are you saying we are slaves also? Is
No.
everybody?
We are a slave owner. Because basically you own that Social Security card, person, and account. So you are a slave owner.
And if I have a Social Security number?
It is a slave person. It's a slave account.
So I need to free myself from that.
Yes, you have to emancipate yourself from that, along with any EINs you have, your driver's license person, your certificate of title to your vehicle person, all these things, you have to emancipate those back to the bankrupts. The state of California, the state of Missouri, the state of, all these states of are bankrupt. The United States is bankrupt. The passport is a bankrupt document. It's a slave document. It's got a 9-digit bank number on it. You can almost be assured that anything that's got a 9-digit number on it is a banking account number, a routing number. And see, that's what all the EINs, they're all 9 digits.
Do you have a form that frees a person from that?
I've got a template up there. I don't have forms, okay?
Okay.
We don't use forms. We have form. That's the difference between the living and the dead. You have to give form to the dead.
All right.
That's why all these 1099s and all that stuff, they're banking forms. They're giving form to our slaves. Because they're fictions. They're artificial persons. So they have no substance.
The files that you want to start with are in the Emancipation zip file, Emancipation package zip file. Start with those.
Is that in the group, our We the People?
Yes, it's in the Yahoo group and on this backup.
Okay.
And then e-concurrent files.
Right.
E-concurrent e-concurrent.com/divine.
Right.
That's probably the easier one to get into.
One more
time.
time.
All the calls are there. They're posted. You have to scroll all the way down through the calls to get to the very latest one. And then basically all the files are, there's several different folders. There's about 37 different folders, and there are different files that I posted over the years. You get into the We the People site, and basically there's links there to go and get dictionaries and different things like that if you need them.
Any special dictionaries like Black's Law or
Bouvier's, Black's Law, Ballantyne's, Anderson's 1889 dictionary. Other dictionaries up there too. Some of them back in out of England. Okay, Oxford Universal Dictionary. There's 2 financial dictionaries up there, because some of the words you need to understand are not in the law dictionaries. You'll find them in the banking or the banking dictionaries. See, that's what most people never even thought about. Hey, this is all about banking. The Bible is strictly about banking. Bible stands for B-I-B-L-E. Banking instruments, banking laws, iniquity. Satan, the very first item there, when got Eve to buy the frying pan off the tree, that was the first devil. Dead vessel transaction.
taking what off the tree?
I said a frying pan because that's what everybody in the 1960s there started going into the banks to get a free frying pan and basically signing up with a damn dead account number with the banks, with the bankrupt banks.
Oh.
There's no bank in this country that has any money. It's all ours. And basically most all of it is they're operating off our credits. We gave them, when we signed up with that bank account, we gave them a letter of credit. And basically the FDIC basically put $250,000 of our credits behind that account. Wasn't quite that much back in the 60s, but that's what it is now today. See, we issue letters of credit. We're the only ones that have any credit. The corporations have nothing. They have to zero their books at the end of the year. So they have nothing. They can't own anything. The government can't own anything because they're a corporation too. Pretty much every September 30th, they have to zero their books. Then they have to beg, borrow, and steal from us to get more funds to operate the next year. Because we went out and got a voter's card that basically is also another banking instrument so that they could, and that was a letter of credit to the Congress to use our credit against the de jure treasury of the country. And also our reserve funds that are being held in the We the People's reserve banks, or that are known as the Federal Reserve banks. Those are our banks. The foreign corporations that are operating them, they haven't risked dick shit in the process. All we have to do is come in and start shutting our accounts down, and they will basically be out of business. We don't need them. They need us.
Patrick?
Yes.
Hey, can my wife, she's got all these 9-digit numbers too, can she emancipate being a woman?
Yes. But she should be under your estate protection. She's supposed to be under the constitutional provision or the biblical provisions, banking provisions out here. She's supposed to be operating under the Book of Ruth. She's supposed to be standing behind her man. She's not supposed to be standing out there acting like a man.
Okay. How do I go about making her stand behind me in my estate?
Right now, probably it's going to be harder than hell. Unless basically you've got a halfway decent wife that will understand this process. Because you try and start throwing some of that stuff up there, basically, hey, she's got to operate behind you. You're going to have a revolt on your hands.
Yeah, she transcribes your calls every day after every one. So she'll be transcribing this one tomorrow. She's
okay, then she should know what I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick George.
Yes.
Out of all the people in this country, the United States, what percentage would you say are free? If you could guess.
Probably about 0.01.
Sounds
That's
high.
a big.
See, even a lot of these religious organizations like the Amish and stuff like that are not totally free. Okay?
Okay.
They're being controlled by their church.
Okay.
Okay? I mean, enough said there. I mean, they're being controlled by a religious. They're not totally free. They're being controlled by the church. And see, right now you're being controlled by a church and state. See, that's what the separation of church and state is. It means you have to separate yourself from the church and the state because both of them are bankrupt. All the major churches are 501c churches. They're bankrupt. They're corporations. Yeah, but you got a corporation trying to control you. How many movies have been out here like that? V for Vendetta. I mean, that guy that was running the damn country of England at the time, basically what did he do? He sort of looked like the nitwit Bushes. Acted the same damn way.
Have to watch that. Favorite movie.
But that isn't the only one. I mean, there's numerous ones out there. Orson Orwell's 1984 or whatever. Where the government's controlling the people. And people just continue, well, that was a good movie, but basically that can't happen here. Wrong. It's been happening for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, all the way back to the very beginning in this last go-around. So that's roughly 50,000 years. And it's called out and it's identified numerous times over what happens to these entities or these governments down the road. They collapse. And who gets harmed the worst? It's the people. But there's numerous prophets in the Bible there that awoke some of the people in enough time to come out of the system. Jesus didn't come to redeem anybody. He came to show us the way and the path. That's all that he came to show us. And the way and the path that he laid out is the exact same path that we have to walk down right now.
How do the people get a hold of the gold again that's been stolen?
You will get it when you get out of the system. You will take, once you come out, you will get all the credits back that you have coming due to you from your slaves. The slaves have to give up everything. All the credits have to come back to the master. The slave has to enter in naked into the lordship of the state, because he can't own anything. The dead can't own anything. Does that make sense to you people? Can you get that through your mind?
I'm beginning.
It's not that hard.
Well, when you've never been taught it, but you're right. If you think clearly and you've just got to stand up and boycott.
No, you have to basically do the proper process and get out of the system. Okay? You have to sort of play low profile and come out. Act like you're using their system. You have to use it until you come out. Then when you come out, you will take your birth certificate after you run through all the credits you get out of the system. You'll get a debit card that'll have a bunch of credits on it. You have basically access. You can turn around and send all your receipts in to the bankruptcy court. Those are now claims against the bankrupt United States. The Federal Reserve banks that are holding the tariff taxes in reserve funds, or the CAFR funds that the states are holding.
This question might be a little strange, but does the U.S. know where the gold is?
You don't need to know where the gold is. I've told you where the gold was, okay? There's two major depositories. One is under Springfield, Missouri, about 5 miles underground. Another one is out east, somewhere under Philadelphia.
But it's in this country.
Yes. But there's other gold assets that you have a world claim to.
You say me, I have a claim to it, or we have a claim?
Yes, we have a claim because we're an earthling. Okay. You have an American claim to the American assets. And then you also have one for the world assets. That have been emancipated by the Church of Rome under the Roman Empire, which is still in effect today.
Doesn't that depend on whether you're an Indian or not? The gold came from America.
I don't
That
care
must
what
be,
the fuck you are.
Indian
okay?
gold.
God damn it.
Oh, jeez.
You're born of the land, okay? Mother Earth takes care of where you came from. You're a third-generation American. You are basically an American. You're a native.
But we're all
You're
Indian.
not an Irishman. You're a Native American now.
Okay.
If you've been given a birth certificate, you have a claim to the Treasury here in this country. If you have a naturalization paper, you have a claim to the assets in this country because you had to do 7 years basically to get naturalized here in this country.
Is that going to lead to bloodshed in this country?
Read the Bible.
Okay. Chapter, verse.
No, you read the Bible. You find it. Okay? I don't need to go through all this stuff with you.
Good enough.
You either believe this stuff or you don't believe it, okay? I'm not going to sit here and argue about this stuff anymore. I've talked for almost 7, 8 years now on this topic.
Hey,
totally different than 99% of the other people out here on their talk shoes and all this that have been totally off target.
Yeah, you need to catch up on the audios, but we'll give you a hint. If they kill you, they don't have to pay back what they borrowed from your estate. So that's a pretty good hint.
Mm.
That's what Revelation's about. Like you said, read the Bible. He wants you to find the answers for yourself, and they're all out there in front of you. You just have to learn to research and study. Patrick's outlining some of the important things that we were never learned in school. But if you listen to the audios, you can catch up. You're not going to catch up in one night.
Understood.
Okay.
Appreciate
but welcome
that.
aboard. Welcome aboard, and all the stuff's right there where he said it was.
Yeah, go through the audios backwards. Start with the latest ones and go back and find out. So the last 2 or 3 weeks is the most.
They're not producers. They're takers. They're pirates. That's why they're down in the Caribbean. That's why they're in Puerto Rico. All these movies are telling us about that kind of what they're doing. There's hints.
Now, they're
Matrix,
dead man accounts.
all that stuff.
All the people that we created are dead men. They're fictions. They're mortmain accounts. And see, they can't hold a mortmain account here on continental United States.
What's mortmain?
It's a dead man's estate.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, look up these words, okay?
Yes.
You'll find several files that have definitions in them. The definitions are very important.
You had the age of discretion when you turned 14, and you chose basically before you turned 21, you chose to have the state become your guardian or your parent, your step parent, by signing up with a Social Security account or by your church to become your guardian. Go through the dictionary about age of consent, age of discretion, age of election, age of majority, right of reentry, right of reentry for condition broken. Liberty, absent of servitude or restraint. You're not liberty yet. You're being controlled. You're operating under a restraint, suppression, a holding back, a deprivation of liberty, total violation of the treaty that's out here, known as the Declaration of Independence. The natural laws of man. Our rights are over the Constitution, not under the Constitution. We stand over the Constitution, not under the Constitution. Our court system is an ecclesiastical court that's over the Constitution because it's a living court. No bar attorney can come into that court because a bar attorney is a dead man. They're a licensed dead man. They're a criminal also. Because all these bar attorneys have Social Security accounts too. The judges that are basically out here in almost every one of these court scenarios basically is a criminal because they are a slave owner.
I think somebody's asleep there.
You need to go through all the word definitions that I have up there. I tried to break them out and highlight certain things to where you can get to looking at them.
Patrick, you say that the Declaration of Independence is a treaty.
Yes.
That means we're a sovereign. We're a sovereign. Who is the other sovereign we have a treaty with?
The Roman Empire and all the other monarchies that were out there that basically accepted that Declaration of Independence for the American people to be operated as free sovereigns.
Would the jurisdiction be The Hague?
You don't need to worry about it. It was signed in 1776, okay? It's a treaty. You might need to read the damn thing because most people have never read the damn thing.
You fall asleep, Tom?
Okay, anybody else got any other questions?
Yeah, Patrick, I've got one more. It's just a bit off the subject. I got another third-party debt collector letter the other day, and I was going to send out your third-party letter, and the most recent one has has all three of our EINs on there, and
basically, you got a third-party debt collector, you ask them where you want to see the contract that you have with them. You turn around and get all your other shit sent into that bankruptcy court and then say, basically, hey, I don't have these guys. You want anything, you go to the bankruptcy court, and you better have basically valid claim in the process. Most of these third-party debt collectors, they won't be able to have a valid claim in that bankruptcy court because if you read that 14th Amendment, Section 4, second sentence, the very end, basically, when all the credits are taken away from our bankrupts, most all of those damn contracts are going to be null and void because they've already been paid for.
Right. I just kind of I should have my seal, my embosser seal, in the next day or two. But I want to stand in honor with this, even though it's a third-party debt collector. I wanted to respond within the 30 days, and I didn't think I'd be able to get the emancipation documents out in time. So I thought I'd...
You just ask them where you have a contract with them. Say, I don't remember ever signing a contract with you. I've got a contract with a bank, If the bank wants something from me, they will contact me.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick, the gentleman just mentioned a seal. What if we don't have a seal? Do you believe we really need one, or are thumbprints good enough?
You can use your thumbprint right now.
Okay.
But I would try and get an embosser. You can go down there tomorrow and basically get one from Staples, Office Max, or whatever. Just some simple embosser that will emboss it. Even if it's a duck on the damn embosser, basically just get it.
Okay. Thank you.
Read what it says about an embosser. It's where you scrunch something so that basically it cannot be copyrighted, forged.
Patrick?
Yes.
Why is it that the Roman government has come out superior to all the rest of the governments in the world that sets the agenda for us?
You haven't read the Bible, have you?
I've read parts of it.
You read Daniel? About the statue of Nebuchadnezzar?
Okay.
Play an iron.
The Babylonian Empire was the head of gold. The chest was silver. That was the Medes Persians. The skirt was bronze or copper. That was the Greeks. Then you had the iron thighs. That was the Roman Empire. And then you had the clay over the iron. Okay? The iron was still there. And then you had the clay over this false covering that's out here in the system right now. The bankers came in with all their controls, hiding a lot of this stuff away. We're still under the Roman Empire, called out in the book of Daniel until the end times.
That makes sense. I appreciate that. I'm showing my ignorance, but I'd rather show the ignorance and get reamed out by you and get with it.
See, it's all in the Bible, and basically that's the same thing with women. If they would read the book of Ruth, they would see that they stand behind a man. Even though he may be dead, they stand behind a man. A woman initially is behind her father. Then she's given up by her father over to her husband. Then if her husband dies, she stands behind the dead husband's estate. Now, if the husband gets rid of her, sends her back home, then she goes back under her father. If her father dies, then she's under her dead father's estate. But a woman is always supposed to stand behind a man's estate. And when they got married, her dowry was to be absorbed into his estate. The children, the product of that marriage, belonged to the estate, the man's estate. The woman is not to have her own estate.
Okay. I realize we all learn from what our background is. Where did you learn this information? Was it the Roman Catholic Church? Was it the Buddhists? Who was it?
It was learning how to read between the lines.
Now, did you have that in you already, or did your parents teach that to you?
I basically sat and listened to sermons, and basically when I turned around and looked around, and basically it says, call no man your father, and basically you're calling a priest up there at the pulpit, father, whatever, and basically the sermon contradicted the whole damn deal. Something's amiss. And then when also Jesus is running around throwing the scribes, the Pharisees, and the Sadducees, and all these other nitwits out of the temple, turning the tables, the money changers' tables over. What was he talking about? He was talking about the bankers, the quack doctors out here selling drugs for these damn corporations, not operating with the real stuff that basically was given in the Bible, all the plants and everything for the health of people. The teachers that are also sitting all around you in church, the lawyers, all these guys that are telling you lies. You were supposed to read the Bible as a little child. And how does a little child read the Bible? Asking questions. But you never got the right answers from your parents, from your churches, from your teachers, anybody. And they belittled you the whole damn time you were growing up until you stopped asking the question why. I never gave up asking the question why.
Okay. I appreciate that.
That's what you have to do. You have to ask a question. Why is it like this? And then go and find it when nobody's going to be able to tell you why it's like that. And then you've got to believe that you found the right answer, or you continue looking until you believe that it is that it is the truth. And your belief now makes you your church. And your body is your grounds of dominion. Your God, your God. Just like the Bible says, both in the New Testament and the Old Testament, ye are gods. Because God stands for grounds of dominion. But they don't tell you that one either.
Your interpretation, or is that solid?
That is solid. If you study enough, you will determine that that is solid fact.
Okay.
Where did you come from? You came from the ground. So your body is grounds, and you have dominion over your body. Your spirit that is in the driver's seat that makes you separate from the deer and the antelope and man. You've got a spirit in the driver's seat. Now he has dominion over that body.
Just do no man any harm.
Yes, and there's really only 2 commandments out there. Just like Jesus said. You apply those 2, and basically everything else falls into place. And you'll be able to stay away from these fraudulent bankers. But you have the right of inheritance from your forefathers that basically they dug things up out of the ground, and basically that share belongs to you. See, corporations can't inherit anything. Only the living can ever inherit anything from our forefathers.
Okay.
And that inheritance is all throughout the Bible, too. Okay. Anybody else got any questions?
Hey, Patrick, the last question I have for you is this. When we get out of the system, we also access our forefathers' inheritance that was left to us.
You will basically be able to come in with your birth certificate, get a copy of your birth certificate, and basically put a value on it, and then process it through either the ecclesiastical court or the Son of Man court, that chief judge, and have them issue a warrant over to the treasury, to the treasurer, to have funds converted as gold, converted into lawful currency, another barter system for you to operate with. I've said this numerous times before.
Yes, you have. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay. But you have to get rid of your slaves, and you have to separate yourself from being under parental control. So you have to do an emancipation as a minor, because you haven't done one yet away from the church and state. And that is a self-executing emancipation, because that's covered by the age of 21 and the age of 25 addressed in the Constitution. The right to vote and the right to be free at the age of 25. You had to be debt-free, because basically to be a representative of a man, you could not be in debt to any other man. Okay? Anybody else have any questions? Okay, call tonight, Tom.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. Great
Okay.
packing.
Okay, good night.
Good night, Pat.
Good night.
Good night, Patrick. Thank you.
Good night, Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick.